we talked about Hillary Clinton, right? And like how the public's mind was made up about her until 2016, and that was a big issue for her. This is a big issue for Trump. Everyone, people already know how they feel about him. I saw a poll, only 2% of the population is undecided on their opinion about him. So if Democrats can outperform Republicans, that's game over. And there's benefit to having newness and youth and all of those things.
Well, that may be the case, Emma, but have you considered that maybe Kamala Harris shouldn't be laughing so much? Let's tune into some very incisive political commentary from Tim Pool, who's just calling him as he sees him.
That the political consultants for Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton are telling them, you cannot be the screechy strong woman because people don't respond well to that. You have to be the jovial laughing woman, which is terrible advice. But I hate to break it to you guys. I wonder if there is just naturally a predisposition humans have to react less positively to women rallying cries as opposed to men. I mean that. I'll give you some examples.
We know.
All right.
I'll give you my...
I said yesterday that the laugh thing is a misogynist dog whistle, right? Didn't I say that?
Whoopsie.
So I'm sorry to tell you guys, but I had a strategy going into that debate with him, and I was gonna laugh at him if he acted ridiculous. When I did laugh at him, that's when he started screaming.
This is why you guys don't get invited places.
We're not having real conversations. That's when he got super red. There is something, first of all, like Hillary Clinton. Yeah, that was part of the issue, bro. She can't. She was. I really have so many issues with her, from like a Iraq War support, Wall Street ties.
Corporate vampire.
Hated voting for Hillary Clinton, but the sexism issues were real. She couldn't laugh because it was inauthentic. But then when she would try to rally, she's being screechy, she's being aggressive. He's describing the outcomes of sexism and why they need to be overcome. But he's basically saying, well, there's nothing you can do because either you're screechy or you're too giggly, and we're going to criticize you anyway for it. Yeah, bro, that's the problem. It's because you have an issue with a woman being in a position of authority in front of your eyes.
What's always great about Tim Pool is he takes his perspective on things and then says it's actually the world. I want to remind Tim Pool that Hillary Clinton lost by 70,000 votes over the course of 3 states in terms of the Electoral College, but millions of more people voted for her than Donald Trump. In fact, Joe Biden won with less of a margin across in terms of the electoral, in terms of like
40,000
votes that could have swung the other way in the Electoral College. So they're actual, like in terms of like them appealing to humans, it's you projecting on to the rest of us your misogyny. Go back and let's hear him explain again how, well, it's a mistake to tell her to laugh. And it's also a mistake to tell her to be screechy woman, because actually people don't trust women. And by people, I mean, Tim Pool doesn't trust women. Because somehow we've had women leaders in other countries around the world many times over. It's just that religious fundamentalism in this country has carried the day, and the patriarchy keeps people out. So instead of railing against that, Tim's just like, it's just a fact. I mean, if you want to be a high value guy, you got to realize that women can't rule the world. Tim
really is, though. I don't think it's a mental disorder. I think that the political consultants for Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton are telling them, you cannot be the screechy strong woman because people don't respond well to that. You have to be the jovial laughing woman, which is terrible advice. But I hate to break it to you guys. I wonder if there is just naturally a predisposition humans have to react less positively to women rallying cries as opposed to men. I mean that. I'll give you some examples. Or I'll give you my experience. So I did a nonprofit fundraising. Almost all of you know this. And there were 2 characteristics that served men and women, respectively, individually, very well. You weren't allowed to say this in the office. You were just supposed to try and give people the best understanding of how to fundraise through a sales pitch. So they'd give you these scripts that you'd read verbatim. Hi, my name is so-and-so. I'm with insert group. Did you know of problem? Problem does thing. Then you have to give a sense of urgency. If we don't accomplish this, bad thing happens. The ask. Now you need to give me money. Boring and doesn't really work. It works in a flat line, like EV positive way. Expected value, meaning like if enough people just read it, you'll make a little more money than you lose. But if you really want to teach someone how to do sales and how to pitch the American people and inspire the masses, well, if you were a guy, if you were tall, congratulations. People just signed up. And if you're a woman, which one do you think that was? And this is funny because I'm going to get offended by this, but no, it really was big breasts. And it's not meant to be crass.
Oh.
Fact is, in all the offices I've worked, which is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, five offices, 5 different offices doing this job with different rotating staffs and things like this. There was a through line of women with large breasts. Again, not to be crass, would raise a lot of money. They'd go out and they'd come back and be like, I signed up 10 people. And it's like, I wonder why. Tall guys, same thing. Men and women react differently to men and women. And I think that's an important point to be made. Again, not to be crass, but what I'm saying is, if you get like AOC, when she went up on stage, pulled her hair down.
I mean, this guy is so stupid. It's unbelievable.
Can he not jerk off on air? It would be nice. I mean, it's
Billy Mays is 5'10", by the way.
It's such an imperceptible motion beneath the table. I mean, but enough.
Let's just like I just for the sake of just showing how much this guy actually thinks about his deep experiences. Let's stipulate every single thing he has said has been true in terms of his experience. That in all the places he works, the best salespeople or the best fundraisers are big-chested women
or tall dudes. Don't forget tall dudes.
Let's just assume, like, just stipulate this, just for the sake of argument. He doesn't ask himself, like, his assumption is like the whole world responds better to men as opposed to women. I'm not even sure actually how this makes what his point is about Kamala Harris being president or being fit to lead, but somehow he's making like the only way that people can fundraise is if they have either big breasts or they're men and they're tall.
Size 13.
But who are they going out and fundraising from? I mean, we know that wealth is concentrated in the hands of specific people in this country.
Yeah. And
it is not the vote is actually concentrated not in those same hands. Everyone has the opportunity to vote. Not some people are disproportionately, their vote is suppressed, but it is certainly not as suppressed as like who gets to have wealth in this country, where you would need the tax break to contribute to a not for profit. And so he doesn't even contemplate like, well, maybe who these people are actually going and looking to get money from. This is just assuming what he's saying is true, and that's his experience. He doesn't even contemplate who's on the other end of that transaction, which may be defining who gets paid. No, for him, it's just everybody. He's such a dimwit. He spends so little time thinking about his deep theories that he doesn't even realize he didn't even know what he's talking about, even with his own experiences.
He's improvising.
It's 1950s misogyny. It's just like the idea of like, well, again, I use this Mad Men example for when they do like their maiden form ad where it's like you're either a Jackie or a Marilyn, and they're like, should we get a woman's perspective on this? No. Women will buy it because they know they want to appear attractive to men. Wait, but like there are 50% of the population is a consumer base. He doesn't even consider that. All the salesmen do well if they turn the men on or if they appear dominant because of their height. Has he done that forensic analysis of like, say, men with full heads of hair?
I was just going to say that. Go ahead. Let's hear where he's going with this, because he's forgotten now. I think he's forgotten what his original point was. He's just trying to tell stories about big chested women that he's known.
He's filling time.
AOC comes up somehow.
Tall guys, same thing. Men and women react differently to men and women. And I think that's an important point to be made. Again,
Super
not to be
important.
crass, but what I'm saying is, if you get like AOC, when she went up on stage, pulled her hair down, and was like, let's go, Bronx, everyone made fun of her. Now, to be fair, it could kind of be like that Howard Dean Yahoo moment or whatever that was he said. Yeehaw.
A short man without boobs.
Maybe. But I also think that when you get Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris and they're trying to do this gruff, you vote for me again. It's raspy, squeaky, and I wonder if people have a natural predisposition against something like that.
Like
Not
you
to
do. say
that it's a 100%, 70. No, it could be like 1 or 2 points that you might lose. Whereas with a guy standing up and saying, I'm telling you now, I will make sure China pays. People are going to be like, oh, that's a strong guy with a deep voice. And with Hillary Clinton, you know, she sounds like this. And Kamala Harris, I'm going to do this. It's like, I think that there are really, you know, it's probably people who don't pay attention a lot to politics, and they have an emotional reaction and expectations, and these things are ingrained in us. Dare I say, I would describe this as inherent
Hillary Clinton
sexism,
got
I
3
believe is what the
million
left
more
calls it.
Inherent.
votes than
And I think that
Donald
plays a huge
Trump.
role.
You idiot.
Yeah.
Your entire
Inherent
theory is
sexism.
based upon your own imagination.
Yeah.
And he's naturalizing he's just naturalizing hierarchies, which is exactly what right wingers do. He's naturalizing things that we have evolved from as a society. We are still in growing pains. Yes, there is still sexism. Yes, there will be voters that will hear Kamala Harris and, whether they understand it or not, will not vote for her because she doesn't appeal to them because she's a woman. But Tim is not saying there's anything wrong with that or that it's something that we should critically examine and that we have the capacity to change, because we know that we do. Women have suffrage. Women have rights. Women have credit cards now. We've evolved. He's naturalizing
Yes, that's
those
the problem.
hierarchies.
And he's also doing it based upon a faulty perception of how other people are, because Hillary Clinton got 3 million more votes than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
That's just a fact. His
With all her
entire theory
issues.
is based upon her getting less votes, and she got more votes. It's not, his theory's not in societies with electoral colleges, people respond to women differently in specific states that they don't campaign in. He's making some universal decree based upon numbers that he doesn't even seem to be aware of.
Ahead of Claudia Sheinbaum getting elected president in Mexico, there was all the same sorts of things being like, what's going to happen because, Mexico, very macho, the macho
Machismo.
man. Yeah,
Machismo.
machismo. And yeah, it's all, idle, speculation.
We've had in Germany, in England, Italy, fortunately not recently in France, Argentina and Mexico. I mean, Israel. Somehow, all of these places must be outside of society, including the United States, incidentally, where, again, 3 or 4 million people more voted for Hillary Clinton than Donald Trump.
I'm remembering Joe Crowley when AOC was challenging him saying, I can't help that I'm white. So it's very quickly, once they realized that it's an advantage, it actually might be a liability to just be what Tim Pool seems as the standard tough guy talking like this.
He's very tough. I can't wait for this to age. Like, the most analogous situation is Jacinda Ardern, right, who took over late in New Zealand to get elected to be president, and she had a pretty good progressive presidency, did well under COVID. So if that's the case, I'll take that example.
Hey, so we all remember the Supreme Court's ruling on Trump's presidential immunity case. Well, get this. The leader of the Heritage Foundation think tank has said the second American Revolution will be bloodless if the left allows it to be. All sparked by the Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. Well, Ground News found nearly 50 sources reporting on it with zero coverage coming from the right. Why? Well, going through these articles, you can see most of them tie this project to Trump. Like this report from the DCCC writing Trump's so-called Project 2025 manifesto advocates for a nationwide abortion ban, quote, silencing his political enemies and more. With presidential elections not too far away, this is an extremely important story and you wouldn't know about it unless you intentionally diversify where you get your news from, which is why Ground News created their blind spot feed. It's to surface major stories with little reporting coming from either the right or the left. Our longtime sponsor really simplifies empowering yourself with knowledge so we're fully aware where our information is coming from and how that influences our reporting or lack thereof. An important mission under our current political climate. Best of all, they're offering my viewers 40% off the same unlimited access Vantage plan that gets me access to all their features. So head to ground.news/majority or scan my QR code to help support an independent news platform working towards a more transparent media landscape.